All right. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for joining us today. On behalf of AUVSI, I'm very pleased to welcome you to today's webinar, Complex bvlos at Scale, Today's Commercial Drone Operations, and the Road Ahead. My name is Shannon Walker. I'm the Director of Programs at AUVSI, and before we get started, we have a couple of housekeeping items that we always like to go over. So, as always, the participant lines will remain muted throughout the webinar. We are recording this program, and a viewing link will be emailed out to all attendees within the next few days. Note, you can view all of our webinars on AUVSI's learning and engagement platform, AVL. If you are listening to our webinar today and you need any technical assistance, please send a note to the webinar leader using the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. And after the presentation today, this panel is going to open up the session for Q&A. So attendees, we encourage you to submit your questions at any time throughout the webinar using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. The questions will be saved to be answered towards the end of this presentation. Please note the Q&A button is different than the chat, so make sure you're submitting any content questions for our speakers today using the Q&A button, which can be found along the bottom bar next to the chat. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. We would very much like to welcome and thank Kongsberg Geospatial for their support of today's webinar. And we're excited to welcome two extremely knowledgeable speakers here with us today. Jay Sachdev, Product Manager at Kongsberg Geospatial, and Greg Colichidi, the COO at bvlos Aerospace. So we're really excited for this presentation today, eager to hear what you guys are going to be sharing more about. And with that, Jay, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Shannon, and thank you everyone for joining and tuning in to this webinar. As Shannon mentioned, my name is Jay Sachdev. I also go by Jay. I'm the product manager leading our UAS family of products here at Kongsberg Geospatial. In terms of this webinar, the general outline, I'm going to start off by giving a brief introduction of Kongsberg Geospatial, dive into our UAS family of products, and then I'm going to bring Greg in to talk a little bit about bvlos Aerospace and all the great things they're doing and how we're helping them enable complex beyond visual line of sight at scale. So a lot of exciting things to come. To quickly get into it, Kongsberg Geospatial's parent company is Kongsberg Group, which is headquartered in Norway. It's a very old company, over 210 years old. They play in a wide variety of different segments, from marine, defense, aerospace, oil and gas, renewable industries, around 39 different countries. There's 4 key business areas part of the Kongsberg Group: maritime, defense and aerospace, digital, and discovery. Here at Kongsberg Geospatial, we actually are part of the defense and aerospace group in the Kongsberg Group. So Kongsberg Geospatial itself, we're headquartered in Canada, in Ottawa. We're 33 years old as a company, and we're in a period of rapid growth. So I think the last webinar we were at something like 80 employees, and we're now at 88 in just a span of a few months. So growing very rapidly. And what we really do is we focus on situational awareness and geospatial visualization software solutions across the world. Going a little bit into our history, 33 years ago, we developed this mapping SDK called TerraLens, and that's being used to develop applications of all sorts of types. A lot of military applications. The U.S. Navy uses it. We have combat management systems, and it's being used in aerospace systems. It's being used in submarines. It's used in a whole wide variety of things. Going back to around 2016, 2017, that's when we started to expand beyond just this mapping SDK and into the UAS line of business, where Iris was born. Iris is our main UAS product. And you can see in 2017 with the Flirty drone delivery ground control station, we expanded Iris, but a ground control station with it. And that was one of our first forays into the UAS industry. Now, more recently, we've also got into the remote tower business. So our parent company has this remote tower module deployed in Norway, and Kongsberg Geospatial, we are actually deploying the system here in Canada in 70 to 80 airports over the next 30 years with NAV Canada. And so we've provided a lot of the software for this to our parent company, and it's great to see it come full circle, where we actually get to prime this contract here right in Canada. And finally, our main product, one that everyone here would be interested in, is Iris Terminal. This is our multi-domain situational awareness software for the drone industry. Now, Iris is really positioned as an electronic observer console, and so drone service providers or a lot of drone operators may be operating their drones, for example, over transmission lines, or other long range utility inspection or surveillance, etc. Well, as you're operating over there is a need to deconflict that airspace and understand that airspace to operate safely, and that's really fundamental to operating beyond visual line of sight, especially when you start thinking about how to unlock economic value in these missions. And so what where Iris really comes in is you have all these sensors, whether that is DAA sensors from a radar or EOIR camera, or you have live transmission feeds such as ADS-B. We can get data from all these sensors, pull it into a high fidelity network, and then manipulate that data to provide a common operating picture from a visualization perspective, but then also take that a level further with some decision support tools, which an electronic observer can then use to adequately deconflict that airspace. And so that is a very high level overview of Iris. Going a little bit into more depth into that data integration piece and then how we provide that airspace awareness. So foundational to this is that static data, terrain, maps, imagery. So I touched on TerraLens, that high performance mapping engine. So we leverage that with Iris, and what we do is we then layer on top of that some periodic aeronautic data. So your airspaces, temporary flight restrictions, we get that updated in real time, and then we can start layering your third-party data around it. So whether that's from a DAA system, a detect and avoid system, such as a radar, EOIR camera, or ADS-B feeds, other traffic feeds, we can start ingesting that data and layering it over that periodic data. And then you have your own fleet. So then we can start actually putting your own aircraft position, altitude, flight path, etc., on top of the whole feed. And then finally, we have a suite of decision support tools. One example of which is a collision avoidance decision support tool that really enables complex bvlos missions to be run and for electronic observers to truly deconflict that airspace adequately. So, in previous iterations, we've talked about the history of Iris and how far it's come. I like to take a little different approach. We made a lot of updates to Iris, and so since the last webinar, we've introduced some customization with the maps that we're providing, and so our key focus has really been on ground risk and air risk, and enabling our users and operators to quickly determine if they meet their regulatory waivers and exemptions and approvals to fly beyond visual line of sight, given their approved ground and air risk categories. And so one of the things with these custom maps, as you can see, is that all major roadway arteries are highlighted in pink on this map. If we zoom in, we've actually highlighted schools and hospitals. So it's very easy to determine that. Greg's going to talk about this, but they do deliveries to hospitals. And so having that quickly highlighted on the map makes it very easy to see and point that out. But then also from a ground risk perspective, you may have some limitations on flying over hospitals or schools as it pertains to your waiver or exemption. And then also industrial transport lines like rail lines are highlighted in green in this map. We've also started pulling in population density. And so there is a high level of granularity here, but for various customers, as they start thinking about what their regulatory approval allows them to do, they can quickly map that out. And when you put in a flight path, that allows you to see, hey, like, which parts of the flight path would you be in conflict from a ground risk perspective. And then finally, we've put in this really exciting new feature for flight corridors. And so as you start taking in a particular route, you can put in a flight corridor, and then you can start putting some custom rules for alerting and warning to ensure either your own aircraft, or they're leaving these flight corridors, to ensure you're meeting your approved ground risk and air risk routes. You can start putting some alerts and warnings in there for your EO to start deconflicting with your pilot. Alternatively, if any either cooperative or uncooperative third-party aircraft start entering your flight corridors, posing a risk, this enables again alerting and warning so that you can take appropriate action as needed. So we're really excited to push this out with ours. And now, coming to the topic of the hour. So, we have Greg from bvlos over here. bvlos is a drone service provider. And, one of the main use cases they use ours for is for situational awareness to operate complex bvlos missions. And so there's a whole host of operational scenarios which this enables. So some of the key ones here are infrastructure inspection. You could have law enforcement and surveillance. Delivery is a big one, and then long-range utility inspection. We touched on that, whether that's transmission lines or gas pipelines. There's a whole suite of things you can do over there. So, there's some problems as we've been chatting with, some of our customers and some of our clients. You can have multiple cooperative or collaborative drones in the airspace, and so especially law enforcement, you could have multiple police departments. You could have the fire department. You could have many different departments operating their own drones in an airspace, and how do you kind of coordinate between all of that with a singular air boss? Similarly, from an asset inspection perspective, you could have the utility line, may use drones for security to ensure their perimeter is secure. And drone service providers such as bvlos may be flying their drones, and all of a sudden you have multiple drones in this remote region, and you need to get that common operating picture to be able to accurately deconflict. And then there's multiple drone manufacturers and models, and so each one comes with its own GCS, its own visualization, and own set of restrictions on what sort of data feeds you get in, and so how do you bring everything into a singular spot? What that usually means is that every sensor, every drone has its own screen, and you can very quickly end up in a situation where you're looking at 5 or 6 screens as an electronic observer. And then from a commercialization perspective, these drones are flying in airspace that may have manned aircraft in the same airspace. And so how do you integrate that in a safe and efficient manner and show that to the regulators that you are able to do so? And then finally, how do you really identify and take action on non-cooperative drones, right? And so going back to that surveillance use case with the law enforcement, you could have reporters flying their drones, and all of a sudden, that they're non-cooperative. So how do you ensure safety of your aircraft in that situation? So this is really where we see Iris come in, and so you first of all you get to see all your collaborative drones, and you're able to pull that in and provide some decision support tools for all your collaborative drones in one environment. You can also pull in all your manned aircraft. We get ADS-B feeds, but then taking it a step further, if you have DAA sensors, they'll be able to detect other drones or manned aircraft, whether cooperative or uncooperative, and actually visualize it for you. And that goes into that non-collaborative UAS piece, right? Where it's you don't necessarily get to see someone if they're a nefarious actor. They're going to actively try and go under the radar, and so using DAA sensors would enable you to see that. And when you bring in all those sensors, you get a true picture of what's around you. And so layering everything on top of that, as you start scaling this, that's where it's very easy to overwhelm an electronic observer. And so we're trying to provide some decision support tools that really focuses on minimizing that cognitive load. And so the end goal is safety and enabling those complex missions. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff here, but to kind of keep this moving along, the end result is you get a single common operating picture that really enables true airspace deconfliction, which by extension allows a lot of our customers to go and get their regulatory approval to fly these complex bvlos missions. And so with that, Greg, thank you so much for joining me. Greg is the CEO from Volatus, and I'll pass the ball over to him.
Just 1 second. I'm just going to load up my my slides right now, and hopefully everyone can see that nicely.
Thanks, so.
I apologize. 1 second. I may take this back. And there. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so I hope everyone can hear me loud and clear. I just want to thank you, Jay. That was a great job. I want to thank everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Greg Colacitti. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Volatus Aerospace. I was also the co-founder of Drone Delivery Canada, where I helped lead an early advancement in commercial drone logistics in Canada. I'm excited to be here today to share some insight, answer questions, and hopefully spark some meaningful discussion. Apologize. There we go. I'd like to begin today by giving you a brief overview of Volatus Aerospace, who we are, what we do, and how we helped shape the future of unmanned aviation. Our combined company has been around for quite some time. Drone Delivery Canada was founded in 2014, and Volatus Aerospace was established in 2018. In 2024, we made a strategic decision to merge our two businesses, a move that's already proving incredibly valuable. By combining Volatus's operational scale and diverse service offering with Drone Delivery Canada's deep regulatory expertise and leadership in logistics and bvlos innovation, we've created a stronger, more agile organization that's well positioned to lead the future of unmanned aviation in Canada and beyond. Volatus currently has offices in 4 countries, supported by approximately 140 full-time global team members. We're a licensed commercial air operator with authorities to handle dangerous goods. And we also have a diverse fleet of aircrafts, which include 12 piloted helicopters, 9 piloted airplanes, and over 90 UAS systems. I should also mention that we're also an approved maintenance organization and helicopter service center, which enables us to maintain full operational control and ensure airworthiness across our entire fleet. Our global business activities fall under 3 main pillars. Our academy, which offers a comprehensive training curriculum designed to upskill professionals in aviation, UAV operations, and data analysis. Our training courses focus primarily on drone pilot certifications, advanced sensor applications and training, as well as youth and teacher-focused programs, including the SEER program and veteran training programs. Next, we have our equipment sales and solution sales. Our sales division provides hardware sales, tailored solutions, including drones, sensors, and even software integration. Finally, we have our service activities, which we've broken into 2 categories. The first being aerial intelligence, which leverages both crewed and uncrewed aircraft to gather high-value data for decision-making. We offer a wide range of image services, including aerial photogrammetry, LiDAR, RGB imaging, thermal imaging, multispectral, hyperspectral imaging, as well as geomatic solutions. Our primary markets in this area are oil and gas pipeline, power utilities, and surveillance services. We currently monitor and inspect over 1.1 million miles of pipeline right-of-way and over 15,000 transmission and distribution towers annually throughout North America. The second part of our service activities is our sustainable logistics. Our drone delivery model is designed to reduce environmental impact while maintaining operational efficiency. To date, we have completed over 10,000 commercial deliveries, all monitored and controlled from our operations control center right here in Vaughan, Ontario, which is just north of Toronto. Some of the more notable delivery operations being carried out today are at the Edmonton International Airport, as well as the hospital, hospital-to-hospital delivery at Halton Healthcare. Just wanted to make sure, yeah. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. Looking at our Volatus footprint, you'll notice the little red dots. These represent the various offices we have situated around the world. These include areas, our office, as I mentioned earlier, we have offices in 4 different countries, occupying in Canada, US, Norway, and the UK. The yellow shaded areas on the map represent the countries we currently have business activities in, while the shaded green areas are the developing opportunities that we are actively pursuing.
Sorry, Greg, I don't think your slide went forward for that one.
I'm sorry about that. Oh, I apologize. There. Did you see that one now?
Still hasn't updated from on the slide.
1 second. I apologize, everyone. 1 second. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, so now are you seeing our operations control center?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Sorry about that, everyone. So what you'll see in the picture in the background, this is our operations control center. We launched our OCC back in 2019, making it the first operations control center dedicated to remote drone operations in North America. As I mentioned earlier, we have successfully completed over 10,000 commercial flights from this center alone. The room was designed to support up to 20 piloted workstations and which enables us to oversee drone operations 24 hours a day anywhere in the world. The OCC is a secured, controlled environment with numerous levels of redundancy. The room was also designed with redundant communication, supported by 2 of Canada's largest telecommunication companies, as well as a 5-hour backup power that automatically fails over in the event of a power outage or loss of communication. This is simply for the fact that we need to ensure that our OCC is able to continue to operate safely without any interruptions or disruptions. Tranquility Base is our 100-acre test and demonstration site located just 10 minutes north of our office in Vaughan. The site features 3 permanent drone spots or vertiports, multiple drone nesting stations, localized weather stations at each drone spot, as well as cameras strategically positioned throughout the property. We also recently installed a ground-based radar detection system from one of our partners, Matrix Space, and integrated it directly into our Iris terminals inside our OCC. This now is enabling us to perform bvlos flight operations using a number of our various nesting stations. The site has been designed specifically to allow for multiple either tests or demonstrations to take place simultaneously, again, all being controlled back from our operations control center. The wonderful part of having a test site like this is that it allows us to go beyond just the conversation of offering our clients a chance to see the technology or hear about the technology, but rather witness it and watch a live demonstration and actually giving firsthand look of what is actually possible.
Hey, Greg, sorry, do you mind going back to that map? I think no one really got to see it.
Sorry, this map?
Yeah, if you can just quickly walk through that again, that would be...
Yep, no problem, I apologize. Okay, so what we have on this map here, this is essentially the Volatus footprint. All the little red dots, if you're able to see them, those red dots indicate the areas where we actually have our various offices, both in Canada, US, Norway, and the UK. The areas that are shaded in yellow, these are all the areas that we're typically doing business currently right now, from either an inspection, a delivery, of sorts. And then the areas that are shaded in green, these are the areas that bvlos sees as developing opportunities that we're actually aggressively pursuing right now. That good, Jay?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm just going to jump to this one right now. Jay, you can see my screen, correct?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful. So now I just want to change gears a little bit and speak to some of our operations that we do here at bvlos. As Jay mentioned, I'm going to be speaking some of our operations, more of the complex operations that we do. This one in particularly is our bvlos operation. We call it, it's the Halton Healthcare Network. So essentially we launched the Halton Healthcare delivery program back in 2022. We coined the term care by air, and this was an 8.5 mile delivery route. The essential idea here was to deliver nuclear radioisotopes between one of our logistics partners, which is called DSV, to a hospital within the Halton Healthcare Network called Oakville Trafalgar Hospital. Initially, when we started this operation back in 2022, we had 9 visual observers monitoring, the airspace and also the ground risk. So both air and ground risk. Shortly after we started the operation, we applied for a bvlos application through Transport Canada. Within 3 months, we received that bvlos application. This being one of the longest routes in Canada in terms of bvlos flights. So we actually, what that allowed us to do is reduce our dependency on our visual observers, and we reduced our numbers from 9 visual observers down to 4. Still not perfect, but that crawl, walk, run approach, getting us closer to a sustainable logistics system. Once, with the success of the Care by Air project, Halton Health saw this and thought that it would be a great idea to design another network that can connect both their hospitals together. In total, Halton Healthcare has 3 hospitals within their network, and they're shipping products on a daily basis, both blood and urine samples daily from one hospital to the next, for diagnostics purposes. So what they wanted to do is essentially fly drones between Milton District Hospital and the Oakville Trafalgar Hospital on a daily route, delivering these samples. What makes this project probably one of the most unique projects in the country, if not North America, is that this program was a complete bvlos operation, whereby we actually installed a ground-based radar detection system with a detection volume of approximately 14 nautical miles that encompassed the entire airspace that we were flying in. It then allowed us to apply to Transport Canada for a complete bvlos application to remove all visual observers from the route. This was made possible because we also used one of our newer drones called the Canary drone, which has been certified by Transport Canada for flight over people. And this was made possible because of the fact that our Canary drone has a built-in parachute recovery system and is licensed to fly over people. So what I want to show you, because I can talk about Halton Health probably for the next 10-15 minutes, but I want to show you a quick video just to show you what it actually looks like to spend a day in the life of our operators flying that route and conducting an operation. And I have one more video that I plan on showing you after this, but I just want to speak to our operations that we're doing currently at Edmonton International Airport. What you just saw just before at Halton Health was extremely complex in terms of how we had to put it all together with the radar system, the flight over the people, and the distances that we were traveling. However, when we talk about complex operations, flying within, an aerodrome and flying near an airport is probably the most complex operation you can think of doing. We were fortunate to be a part of, and still fortunate to be a part of what's happening at the Edmonton International Airport. So the next video I plan on showing you is just a snapshot, again, of what happens there, just so you can get some more context of how close we are to the aircraft and how we're actually flying within the airspace. I want to set up the video to let you know there's some stuff that's going to be inside the video that I'd rather explain to you before you actually see it. In the video, you're going to see a modular drone spot that we have developed. bvlos has developed and deployed to a client site. The drone spots are installed and can function, can be set up within 2 days of delivery. They're typically equipped with ADS-B ping stations, surveillance cameras, localized weather stations, access control systems, and can be outfitted with even potentially satellite communication, depending on the geography that we place our drone spots in. The ultimate purpose for the drone spot is to provide a safe takeoff and landing area for our drone operations to occur. I should point out that most of our drone delivery operations that we conduct daily operate similar to standard courier companies. At the YEG, for example, we operate a service 5 days a week on a scheduled service Monday to Friday, operating approximately 12 to 16 delivery flights per day, weather permitting. We fly our Canary drone, which is the same drone that you just saw in the previous video, in multiple weather conditions, which include rain, snow. It operates in temperatures up to plus 40 degrees Celsius and as low as minus 20 degrees Celsius, and can fly in wind conditions up to 20 knots. So I'm just going to play the video now, and I hope you enjoy this one.
The cargo and courier sector has seen rapid innovation, benefiting customers worldwide. However, challenges still exist in delivering critical, time-sensitive healthcare cargo and reaching remote industries and communities. Now, imagine a future where these goods are delivered in a timely, sustainable, cost-effective, and safe way. That future is here, with YEG and its partners leading the way in controlled airspace. Introducing the next phase of YEG's drone delivery program, boosting efficiency in healthcare and remote supply chains. This enables safer operations near commercial aircraft, supporting sustainable routes with reduced handling, full traceability, and timely access. Launched in May 2022, Phase 1 completed over 3,000 flights covering over 8,400 kilometers within Leduc County. Phase 2 extends the route from Pat Wilson Memorial Park in Leduc County to a new medical facility in the city of Leduc. The drone safely navigates south over railway tracks at an approved height before it descends at the edge of the glide slope. It pauses to ensure it's clear before passing under the glide slope and then landing at the clinic. All operations were developed and conducted through extensive consultation with our partners, ensuring full compliance with CARS Part 9, and conducted with the highest safety standards, ensuring full regulatory compliance. YEG has received industry and regulatory awards, including global recognition for sustainability in 2022 and the Transport Canada Aviation Safety Award in 2024. Our partners are united by a shared vision to revolutionize how goods are delivered. Together, we're not just imagining the future, we're creating it. Join us on this journey. Visit flyeia.com/drone to discover more.
What you're seeing right now on the screen is the Iris terminal it's a recorded screenshot of one of our actual flights that we conduct at YEG on a daily basis. You'll notice on the screen, I'll just point out a few things. It might go into a loop because we had to keep re-recording over it. But what you'll notice is the actual tail number of our drone is on the screen. So we have true visibility and spatial awareness of where our drone is located at any given time, whether it's on the ground at our drone spot, whether it's flying the predetermined flight path and the approved route as identified on the screen as that little yellow line. So our drone number is 4007. And again, whether we're on the ground or flying, you'll always see that. What the beautiful thing about this application is that it allows our operators to have one screen that gives them full visibility of everything that's happening. In the past, we would have to have 2 or 3 screens to provide us that same awareness. And now we're able to layer on top, as Jay pointed out in previous slides, we are able to layer on top various information that gives our users, our pilots, the full capabilities to be able to make smart, safe decisions when required. And as you can see, you'll see that there's a WestJet plane just about to take off at runway 30. That's the same runway that we crossed directly under. And it would not be possible to carry out this complex operation without the use of technology like the Iris terminal. It would have taken 3 or 4 people inside our OCC to give us that same level of insurance that we need to be able to operate safely. And I still think we wouldn't have that same capabilities. But the beautiful thing about this application is that, with a touch of a button, we can easily determine what the altitude of each of these flights are at. We have alerts that we set up within the system that notify us that aircrafts are actually coming in for approach or going to be getting into our flight path. So we're able to, as Jay mentioned, we're able to perform deconfliction maneuvers if we have to. And because you got to understand what you're looking at right now is a zoomed in view of the airspace, but as you zoom out, there's planes scattered throughout the airspace, and it makes it very challenging to operate the drones. So because we're able to filter out, 30,000 feet views of the drone of the aircraft above and only concentrate on what's necessary to make sure our operation happens safely, it makes it a lot easier and more manageable for our operators. With that, I want to thank you, Jay. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to chat about bvlos, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Yeah, thanks so much, Greg. I think that was very insightful and really cool to see. The the one thing that you kind of touched on briefly, but it would be I think it'd be really really cool to be able to sort of hear from you directly. As you sort of mentioned, the OCC is going to be controlling YEG, and it controls that Halton medical delivery. But I think as we discussed, I think that your plans are for that OCC in Vaughan to actually control all your operations globally, right? I'm wondering if you could sort of touch on that briefly.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. Yeah, so the idea for us now, short term, medium, midterm, and long term, is to utilize the OCC to provide services both in the inspection, not just on the delivery side, but also on the inspection part of our business. So by that, what we're looking now to do this year is we're starting to integrate that technology, your technology, and the technology inside the OCC to all our operations. So on the inspection side, as an example, in the past, we would send out a single person with a single drone and have that pilot operate that one drone. The plan for this coming season and going forward is to have a drone handler, be sent out to a field and potentially launch 2 or 3 drones, all being controlled directly from our operation control center here in Vaughan. Again, utilizing situational awareness and the capabilities of our OCC, we're now able to scale an operation and provide better economies of scale for our business.
Yeah, I just think it's fascinating, especially when you start thinking about transatlantic flights, right? You're going to be sitting in Vaughan, and then you have operations in the UK and Norway, and being able to control that from Vaughan is just, I think, a very exciting prospect, for the industry at large. But, you guys are sort of trailblazing the path here, so it's really cool to see and be a part of. So thank you. And, the other thing as well that, again, we touched on, but, I think would be interest to the group at large. You quickly touched on matrix space. Obviously, sort of we're helping as well, but Volatus is sort of leading this bvlos demonstration site. So I think it would be super valuable for people to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So what we've done at our test site or demonstration site is we've installed a ground-based radar system from Matrix Space that's going to be paired with various nesting stations or drone-in-a-box solutions, and that is going to give us. So with that system, it'll allow us to apply for a bvlos status operation that will enable us to use that drone in a box without having a visual observer there. So we've literally just started doing that right now. And the premise there is once we can ensure that that technology works hand in hand with the drone in the box solution, we would then take that and provide it to our customers so that the technology has already been developed. It's not something that has to be developed from scratch. Again, all those operations stemming back to our OCC, where one operator, for example, can operate multiple drone-in-the-box solutions across a specific geography, whether it's all of Canada, in the UK, and that making it more cost-effective for various companies to also be able to use drones as a solution for either surveillance or inspection services.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point you brought up there in terms of putting the technology together for customers. Because one of the things I think we've noticed is that everyone has a custom solution to fly beyond visual line of sight. And as you start talking about scalability and we start talking about how do you unlock those economic benefits, I think you need to start seeing this consolidation. So it's great to see all that come together. I'm super mindful of the time. So I'm going to pass the ball to Shannon and open the floor up to questions from the group at large.
Definitely.
Well, this is still an excellent presentation, and this is a great discussion. So I was on board for it to continue as long as you guys needed. It's been super interesting. So attendees, we're about to jump into Q&A. We've got some coming in. I did get a side note that some people were having trouble with the Q&A button. If that's the case for you, submit your question in the chat. And we will track it and include it. We want to ensure that we capture all questions that you guys have. So just in case there's any issue, but we do have several coming in. So I'm going to jump right in and get started with it. First question for you, Greg. You mentioned you do drone inspections.
Yep.
Do you use the same technologies for drone inspections as you do for drone delivery?
Great question. So we don't currently, but we are implementing that as we speak. So this season is going to be a lot different than last season. So our plan for this season, again, as I briefly mentioned a little bit earlier, is that now what we're planning to now do is utilize our OCC a lot more than we ever have in the past. So in the past, we would send one person out to monitor a specific area. Now we're going to be utilizing our OCC and having that same one person go out there, but bring multiple drones covering vast amounts of area to become more efficient at what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think this is also one of the things we've sort of collaborated on as well is this whole surveillance, right? So I think a part of inspection is also the surveillance. I'm wondering if you can share a bit about that surveillance side of it and the tech around surveillance as a service, which I think is a super innovative thing that you guys have sort of come up with. Be a great opportunity to be sure about that.
Yeah, no, great. Actually, you know what? I have a slide. Give me 1 second. I just got to go back to my computer. I'll pull one up. 1 second. I think I have one right. 1 second. Sorry, I apologize. There. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Oh, right there. So this is actually a slide that I think, again, pictures are worth 1,000 words. When you see this, what you see on the left, this was filmed, or we flew a drone over a specific area of inspection for one of our clients to show them just how impressive surveillance as a service can be with the right technology in place. So I'm going to hit play on this, and what you're going to see on the left side of the screen is just a simple standard image that we're taking. Then on the, and you'll notice a couple people at the bottom, but you might not notice that if you look on the right side, you'll see our AI tools are actually capturing stuff that we can't actually see with our naked eye, where they might be, there might be a shadow that's blocking the people, might be a dark area, but the tools that we're actually utilizing for our surveillance services are actually picking up within a 90% accuracy of either a human, a vehicle. So they're able to properly distinguish between various either people or cars or animals even that are in the area, where, again, with just a standard camera, we might not be able to pick that up. And in most cases, we can't pick that up. So I think, again, like I said, I think pictures are definitely worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, I just think this is really cool to see, what you can sort of pick up from your AI tech over there, but then also, coupling this whole thing where someone doesn't need to set up and buy all this equipment, and you guys are offering this as a service where, hey, look, we'll do the surveillance for you because we have that expertise in operating drones and them beyond visual line of sight. So
Yes,
this is really cool to see.
Agreed. So what we would typically do in this scenario is we would install and deploy various drone in a box solutions. Some are less expensive than others and have different capabilities, but all of these operations, once installed, are operated and controlled directly from our operation control center here. And again, this operation that you're seeing here is flown in Vancouver, being controlled and monitored from our offices here in Vaughan. I'll stop that one.
Very cool. And sorry again for the deviations, but I think that's super cool to see.
Yeah.
No, it is perfect. I was actually going to ask a similar follow-up myself, so I'm so glad you did it, Jay. But, coming back to you, you talked about scaling. So can you talk about how Iris scales when managing large-scale simultaneous bvlos operations across like multiple operators or multiple geographies?
Yeah, excellent question. And so, this really, there's two-part answer to this. The first one is Iris today. And so as we look to how Volatus has this set up, they have a singular OCC, Operation Control Center, and they've got their entire systems network to provide all the data to that singular source, the singular control center. And, Iris today does really well in that situation. So, we talked about some of the pedigree from military defense with Iris, and so we've leveraged a lot of that, and we have the capability to process large amounts of data on a singular instance of Iris. And so, the Volatus use case here is one where, as they're operating around the world and they have these, small routes, small corridors, Iris can support, all the flights in those areas and enable them to get that common operating picture. And the key part there is that you can have a singular electronic observer operating a flight in Edmonton or a flight in California at the same time, and it'll alert them whenever there's a conflict they need to be aware of, and it'll just pull them back to that particular zone. So they could be focused in watching the flight in California, and then all of a sudden be like, hey, look, you have a deconflicted, you need to take care of a conflict in Edmonton, and it would pull them back and say, hey, like, take care of this now, right? Here's the issue. So there are a lot of key aspects of Iris today that enable that. As we start thinking about where we want it to go tomorrow, I think there's a lot we're trying to tackle in terms of how do we take it outside of that singular, OCC, as we see, some of our customers like operating this out in the field and having some more mobility with how they connect with, pilots out in the field, electronic observers out in the field, and how do they connect with a system or a whole team of pilots? For example, utilities may outsource to 30 or 40 different pilots across their entire infrastructure. So we're starting to tackle some of those scalability use cases now.
Fascinating. Thank you. And keeping on time, and we have a bunch of questions that have come in, so I want to keep moving through. A question that came in, Greg, during your presentation said hello from Colombia, but asking what is the biggest payload that you can deliver with a drone? And if you know it in kilograms, that was the preferred measurement.
Okay, that's good because that's easier. Actually, we just announced a partnership a short while ago with two very large aircraft OEMs, one being Dufour Aero. So that one there has a payload capacity of approximately, I apologize, 100 kilos, and has a range of about 1,000 kilometers. Following that, we have another one known as the Windracer. We have payloads there of approximately 400 pounds or 250 kilos, but much longer distances as well. So in and around that is where we are right now in terms of payload capacities. And then, sorry, Shannon, just let the viewers know as well. The drone that they did see, that has a payload capacity of 5 kilograms.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, moving into the next question. I know you guys work out of Canada. Do you have delivery operations in the US over people?
So we don't at the moment. That's something that that's what our plan for 2025 is. So this current year, so I'd say we're hoping by Q2, end of Q2, we should have some delivery operations happening in the US, Q2, Q3.
Perfect. And so adding to that question, I guess as a curiosity, if you're currently working with the FAA,
Yes.
And if so, what have been the challenges to integrate with your services, and how have you kind of managed the regulations and the rules in the US airspace, as it seems like you guys are kind of in the midst of working through this?
Yeah, so working in the US and Canada is almost the same. In Canada right now, we have our advanced pilots. In the US, we operate under Part 107. So all our drone pilots are licensed both as advanced license and Part 107 certified as well. So for us, the operations would carry out in the US as Part 107. We would apply for the waivers, same as we have over here in SFOC. We would apply for waivers in the US under that same jurisdiction. And then what we would do is we have a partner in the US that actually has a Part 135 that allows us to be a commercial cargo delivery company, drone cargo delivery company in the US, and allows us to pay for our services. So we've already partnered up with a US entity that has that Part 135 that enables us to perform operations in the US.
And Greg, I think this is another opportunity just in terms of scale. I know you mentioned the millions of flights that you guys do, but you guys don't do delivery, but I know you do inspection in the States. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you can share just all your operations in the last year, because I think that when I saw that graphic, it just it kind of blew my mind, right?
Yeah, no, happy to share that one, Jake. Actually, give me 1 second. I will try to share my screen again. Hopefully it works. There you go. So are you able to see that, Jay?
Yep.
Is it okay? Yeah. So for all those that are looking at this for the first time, what you see, if there's a line, if there's a dot, it doesn't matter what the color is. That was either an operation that we are currently doing or have done in the past. For the most part, these are all ongoing operations. So all those red lines that you see, that looks like a pen exploded over parts of Alberta, if you know where that is, the top part of the screen, that's actually all the pipelines that we talked about, the oil and gas pipelines that we actually monitor on annually, basically on a daily basis. And they travel basically throughout all of Alberta, across Canada, and also into the US, all the way down as far as Texas. And then you'll notice we blanket a lot of eastern United States, and starting to make our way now a lot more into the southern United States as well. Again, as we start to grow and as we start to expand, you'll start seeing a lot more of Volatus in the US as well. And then what we also see is on the right side of the screen is some of the services that we are completed in both Ireland and the United Kingdom. So this gives you a little bit of a snapshot of sort of high level where Volatus has been, and what we continue to do in terms of level of services.
Thank you so much. That was great. That was perfect. To bring it back to Jay, a question came in about Iris. So how does Iris terminal and Iris GCS work like in concert with each other for bvlos operations?
Yeah, excellent question. So, the Irish GCS is something that we've done in the past for a few of our customers. I think one of the things about the industry is that the GCS is very tailored to your manufacturer of your drones. And so when we've done it in the past, we've worked with our customers and the drones that they have in their fleet to create a GCS that works for them. So, what I would say is that it's sort of based on Iris Terminal, and then we're able to work in a consultative approach with some of our customers and develop something that pulls everything into a singular screen. And so that provides additional benefits because now all of a sudden you don't have that one screen for your GCS, one screen for your airspace deconfliction. You can merge everything into a singular screen. And so that's sort of where we land today with Irish GCS.
Perfect. Thank you. We had a couple of questions specific to the routes, going to the hospitals. So the first was asking, as the drone approaches the Edmonton runway positive control point, how is clearance with the tower accomplished?
So essentially what happens there is we have a HIRA, which is a risk document and a process that we put in place with YEG, the Edmonton Airport, as well as NAV Canada, who controls the airspace around the airport. And based on that approved document, we operate our drone. So essentially what happens is, in the document, it states that our drone would potentially fly that route on the approved path. And as it approaches a specific waypoint, it sits and hovers there until there's a clearance made. And that clearance happens essentially from what we're able to see with the Iris terminal, essentially. So that's why it's essential that we have this piece of technology in our OCC. Without it, our drone would be hovering there forever. Once we understand that there's a clearance, the handoff is done and the drone continues. So it's an agreement between us, NAV Canada, and YEG, how that all comes together in concert.
Fascinating. Wow. Thank you so much. Another kind of tactical question was asking, how do you get the visuals along the routes between the hospitals?
So we fly bvlos for that. So there is no visuals. The drone doesn't fly with any cameras. It's all sensor based. So what happens there is the drone itself, again, has been certified for flight over people by Transport Canada. So that mitigates all the ground risks. So we don't have to worry about any people, cars, anything in terms of people on the ground. With respect to the air risk, that's where the radar comes in and captures all the cooperative and non-cooperative traffic that's in the airspace. So it takes that data, feeds it into Iris. Then our operators are looking at the Iris terminal, and we have that situational awareness, which is the eyes in the sky for us to operate that drone.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And sadly, we are right up against time right now. Even though we have a lot of questions that we didn't get answered, attendees just know that if you submitted something and it did not get answered, that it'll be passed along to our speakers today for follow-up after the fact. So last question, back to Jay. So, you've talked about the larger operations, but, if you're a smaller operation, what would it take to set up with Kongsberg? Like, what equipment is involved? Things like that for our smaller companies.
Excellent question. So, I think the situation where we're at is like the more you bring, the better it is, right? But you can get set up honestly with just your own drone. And if you bring your own drone, we can integrate that into Iris Terminal. We can pull in, ADS-B feeds through the internet. You can get, live airspaces through the internet. And it provides you some benefits there over not having any sort of airspace awareness. But then, as you start layering in some DAA, then you can start getting some non-cooperative. We have a partnership with Drone Tag, for example, and so if there are other members who are broadcasting their position on remote ID, especially network remote ID, rather than Bluetooth remote ID, you would be able to see that in there. And similarly, if you have a really cheap, Bluetooth dongle to read in remote ID from a Bluetooth perspective, we can easily integrate that into Iris. And so for the smaller guys, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on hundreds of thousands on radars. It could be as simple as just, getting your own drone in there. And then, if you have a little bit of money, you maybe get, a remote ID receiver. And then as you start adding more, you can get like an EOIR camera for, 10 or 15,000. And then you start going up to build that, to get that redundancy in your airspace awareness.
Perfect. Well, thank you. That was a
Awesome.
great way to kind of wrap it. And before I close out for us, Jay, Greg, do you have any closing thoughts or comments that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to thank both yourself, Shannon, for the opportunity, and Greg, thank you being so open and sharing all of that. It was a lot of, really great information. So I appreciate all of it. So thank you both.
And I'd just like to say, Shannon did a great job. Jay, thank you again for inviting us. I could talk about Volatus forever. So this has been a great platform, and I really enjoyed my time. Thank you very much. Thank you both, and I hope everyone that's listening also enjoyed the presentations today.
Well, I will echo all of those sentiments, and from AUVSI's point of view, just thank you both, Jay, Greg, for this excellent presentation, this great discussion, and thanks to Kongberg for the support of today's webinar. Quickly, attendees, you are going to receive a link to access the webinar recording within the next few days. All the webinar recordings are available on AUVSI's learning and engagement platform, AVOL. If you have any questions or comments for our team at AUVSI, please feel free to reach out to us. Address is education@auvsi.org. And lastly, today's program is copyrighted by AUVSI with all rights reserved. So again, thank you all for being with us today. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Greg. And we hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day.
Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Bye.